One of the biggest things is Vermont has this cachet of being a climate haven. And I think the challenge with that is everywhere has its own hazards, and there's no corner of Vermont or anywhere in the world that doesn't have something that you need to pay attention to. And knowing that in order to effect change, it's all relationship building. It's all based on who you know and what your level of trust is in both directions. It's not a one day, it's not a one-shot thing. In some cases, it's over a course of decades.
Between 2023 and 2024, flooding around the Vernuske River in Vermont destroyed dozens of homes and 16 bridges. More rain and more flooding battered Central and Northern Vermont in the weeks that followed. Hardest hit were refugee communities in the Burlington area, who are vulnerable to socioeconomic challenges and language barriers, making the damage to their homes and their lives especially harrowing. Partnering with the American Geophysical Union's Thriving Earth Exchange, the Islamic Society of Vermont wants to survey the threat and create a risk assessment toolkit that can help more than 5,000 refugees prepare for the next flood. Relocation is not an option for them, and as weather events become more severe and frequent, this community will need to develop greater resilience in the face of a changing landscape. This is a story about forging a resilient future against the worsening odds of climate change across Vermont and beyond.
The city has 1,000 square foot plots that it rents to people as community gardens, but then there are these sort of subsistence level plots that are like a quarter acre. Families can rent those. They mostly are doing stuff for their own use. And we've become aware over the last 10 years that we have all these other neighbors, that it was patently clear in 2023 and 2024 that when we had these big July 12th floods, that we really wanted to make sure that they were getting the same information that we were getting, and that was people were able to make decisions based on some of the same things. This is the flood line in 2023. So it was deep, 2024, and Tropical Storm Irene in 2011. So those have been the big floods for us that have really inundated almost all of our fields, some of our buildings, but fortunately spared a lot of our critical infrastructure, our greenhouses and things like that. Yeah. We had something like 90% crop loss in 2023 and probably 60% in 2024. Year after year, those kinds of things really crater your business.
The basement was flooded. It was a lot of damage. It was too much. And it was not just 2 hours of work. It wasn't just one day of work. It was a few days of work, constantly putting that vacuum on, sucking up the water, sucking up the water, sucking up the water. It was a lot of water. Oh, gosh. This whole area was completely flooded, like completely flooded. And so, if you come over here real quick.
This is almost, come on.
Yeah, right?
Stop.
That's all water damage.
Come on.
Oh.
This is Bara, this is my grandson. Well, if we have a safe basement, we can furnish it. It can be for the boy to play downstairs. But now, because he has an asthma, we don't allow him downstairs because of his asthma, because of the mold. When it rains very hard, this is where the water comes. We were trying to do a gutter here, but it didn't work. So we actually tried to move it.
My name is Haytham Mohammed. I guess my title would be recent MSW, so Masters in Social Work. It was a big part of my program at UVM was, about resilience and, like recognizing when people are resilient. I think it comes in many forms, right? It can be, for like a lot of folks, and I think especially when we're talking about like the refugee immigrant population, they are very resilient inherently, just everything they've experienced and are still experiencing in these communities in this country, especially with political climate and also, what's going on in the world.
If you think about the various ways that we can break down that concept of resilience, you can talk about it from an infrastructure perspective. We can talk about it from a financial perspective. We can talk about it from an economic, community-based respect. There are like at least 5 ways of talking about that ability to bounce back. But more importantly, do you also have the wherewithal to make it through, to pre-stage, to prepare? And all of that is bound up in whether you're resilient or not.
We found the Burlington project through Dr. Leslie Ann. She was a collaborator on some other projects we had related to flooding, and she wanted us to meet with Mona and learn more about the Burlington issue. And my first impression was that this was a community that really highlighted a significant need in the field, especially related to flooding. That there is a lot of communication that happens that doesn't necessarily have the effect or impact that is intended because it's not being tailored or targeted to the audiences that need it the most.
When I think about community work and community science, it has to be relationship first. There are all of these pieces when you start walking with a community that you have to be culturally humble enough, intellectually humble enough to want to know about. There's a certain vulnerability in that, and that's okay.
So ISFTs are serving around from 5,000 to 6,000 Muslim, including Ukrainian, including Somali, including Egyptian, Middle Eastern, all Iraqi, Yemenis, Pakistani. So you have the United Nations here. MashaAllah, we have a lot of community from all over the world are here. So we actually have the Islamic school every Sunday, and we're serving almost 96 students. As a community, we cannot leave it only on the government. We need to do something ourselves. So teach our kids, how to be conscious about climate.
Based on what Mona discussed, Mona itself is understand very well about the risk of the climate change and event of the flooding and some science factors and what they can do. However, other community members don't understand well about what climate change is and what they climate change effect on themselves. So those kind of the knowledge gap between the community members and community leaders.
Flooding is affecting all corners of the state and all people, no matter whether they're in these designated mapped flood zones.
Ideally, we would like to be able to help them prepare so that when rains are coming and the potential for flooding exists, they are able to do things in their homes that help them to prevent being damaged or to minimize the amount of damage, and if possible, to actually minimize the amount of floodings.
It's something that can be rectified. The populations that are most at risk for flooding, the populations that are least able to adapt and recover, that are least able to be resilient to flooding, they are not the ones that are getting the attention in terms of education, outreach, and resources.
Understanding the background and what Mona's challenge is and set our goal. The first goal we would like to do is the flood risk analysis of the area, and another one is making an adaptation plan, and the third one is the education to the community members, and that is our whole project goal.
How we learn from the observations so that we don't keep repeating the same outcomes.
They cannot do it by themselves. It has to be collaboration. Community members, they have a roles too. A human being are the main reason for all this disasters that's happening, really. The way our living lifestyles and the way that we deal with the climate, we don't respect and we don't appreciate what God gave us until we lose it. It is the time to pay attention and pay more attention to our actions and our lifestyles and how to protect what's left, because there is so much damage now, that's happened.